The newest member of the Nintendo Switch Sega Ages line was released in Japan recently, a port of the System 16 arcade original, Fantasy Zone. We'll take a look at some of the features and additions to this new version, and you can judge for yourself if it's a game you'd like to pick up. The original Fantasy Zone was developed by Sega AM1 and released in 1986. It was a unique take on the horizontal shoot 'em up. While games had allowed you to go left and right at will before, this game also had you blowing up enemy bases to proceed to a boss fight. You weren't alone in this fight either. Collecting money meant being able to visit stores to upgrade your weaponry and even buy extra lives to help you on your journey. These upgrades were finite and needed to be replenished often, making collecting money a big deal. The M2 port here stays true to the arcade original in pretty much every way. The visual and audio presentation is very good, and of course you get the usual assortment of options and upgrades the Sega Ages series is known for. You can listen to the music in the built-in sound test, you can change the screen size and add filters, and adjust difficulty and stage markers as you see fit. You can bank your money with each playthrough and have secret options you can open up once you reach the required threshold. You get the original arcade version to play if you want a straight up challenge without any changes. Here, Fantasy Zone shines with its great gameplay and solid arcade challenge. Even on the easier setting, first time players will be hard pressed to get very far. You need to stay active, alert, and understand the enemy patterns that fill the screen constantly. The emulation is perfect from what I can tell, both in the audio and video quality. The speed is also extremely similar, with slowdown occurring about as often as it does in the arcade. Content is of course the same as well. You get the same power-ups that are available to purchase at the store that pops up frequently, and stage and boss layouts remain the same. There are a couple of new modes here for those looking to change things up. The most prolific of these new options is the Oopa Oopa mode, which allows you to choose your weapons on the fly as long as you have the money to use them. Each weapon and sub-item costs a certain amount of gold, and you can use each weapon as long as you have the means to fund it. The more devastating weapons of course cost a fortune, so you'll need to be smart here. Running through your gold quickly leaves you no way to upgrade yourself now that the store is completely gone, and the jacked up difficulty of this mode is sure to challenge you if you don't have the means to deal with the aggressive mobs. It's a fun distraction from the vanilla arcade offering, and adds a new dimension of gameplay for the series. There is also a time attack mode that allows you to run through the game with limitless lives until you beat it. Each base, boss, and stage is timed as you defeat it, with an overall time being recorded if you complete the entire game. This is a great way to practice the levels as well, as you cannot die. M2 does a great job overall again with this Sega Ages release. Despite the candy coating, Fantasy Zone is extremely challenging, and provides a ton of gameplay before you get good enough to challenge the last stage boss rush. I've beaten this game only a couple of times in my life, and having it portable is a great way to play it on the Switch. If you own the Saturn or 3DS versions of the game, I can't say you need this one. Those versions were excellent representations of the arcade original in their own right, and the extras seen here don't add a lot over what was in those versions of the game. If you are a fan of the Fantasy Zone games, however, this is a great addition to the series. The unlockables you saw earlier also add a few cool additions to the content and don't take a ton of time to open up. A solid 4 or 5 plays with a decent amount of gold will do it. As with the recent release of Shinobi, this Sega Ages entry is only available in Japan at the moment, but should be coming west pretty soon. I wouldn't be surprised if Sega dropped them both right on top of one another before the end of the year. Whether you are a fan of the arcade, a Switch owner looking for a good shoot 'em up, or just wanting to support the Sega Ages line in general, Fantasy Zone comes highly recommended. You get accuracy, great gameplay, some new content, and all at a solid price. With this release, there are only 5 remaining games in the Sega Ages line to be completed. Nothing else has been announced or even talked about. If you have enjoyed this series and want more, you need to support these games if you have the means. They have underperformed in many territories, leaving Sega in doubt whether its fans even want to see the series continue. The remaining releases include quite a bit of variety, so put your money where your mouth is and make sure you support some of them. I'm Sega Lord X, thank you guys for watching, and I will catch you next time.